Welcome everyone. Thank you very much for joining us here in Fall River. I am Cathy and Viveiros. I am Fall River City Administrator, and I want to be the next mayor of the great city of Fall River. Thank you. I thought it was very important that we give the voters of Fall River a choice in the upcoming election for mayor. I will be a write-in candidate for that office. As I hear about the change that my opponent is planning, I am very fearful that the tremendous progress we have made over the past 6 years will be lost. We deserve more than a default vote for a candidate that I believe will bring back the failed economic practices from our past. I have been involved in the community of Fall River for over 40 years, and I can honestly say, in my lifetime, I have never seen the city so poised to complete an economic transformation that will make our workforce a dominant force in the entire South Coast. Fall River is developing a prominent role in new and emerging technologies, and this is going to be extremely benefit to allow us to grow and prosper, and for our workforce to do the same. We are developing strategic partnerships with our state government agencies. We're working diligently, and we are coming so close. We cannot change our course now. We have got to keep it going.
Yes.
I was born and raised in Fall River, married Dan Viveiros, and we raised our 2 sons, Matthew and Mark. I am a Durfee grad, and so are my sons. I taught special needs in the Fall River Public Schools, opened a business in downtown, served with dedication for 8 years as a member of the Fall River City Council, and for the past 6 years I have served as city administrator under 3 different mayors. And it has been the most challenging, but also the most satisfying job of my life. For us to understand just how far we've come, I need to take just a few moments to bring us back 6 years. I became city administrator in January of 2014, and it was then when I was first confronted with the mistakes of the past. I inherited a $16 million problem. The fire department was losing a $1 million grant funding 10 police officers. Police department. Fire department was losing its SAFER grant, $14.4 million, funding 60 firefighters, and there were no backup plans in place. We had a $3.4 million net school spending deficit because huge increases in transportation and health insurance had not been included in that current year's budget. Our landfill was closing, and we were going to be losing $1.7 million in revenue, and DEP had finally decided that it was time for Fall River to clean up the contamination it had caused over 60 years ago. And that came with a $3 million price tag. But those of you that know me know I'm always ready for a good challenge, and I am the eternal optimist. So I used my master's degree in business administration from Boston College, 20 years of private sector experience, and with the help and commitment of the government center team, school department employees, and most especially union leaders, we started a slow, steady process of financial recovery. Working with the Fire and Emergency Medical Services Union, we brought fiscal stability. There would be no more threat of layoffs. Our fire department complement went from 175 firefighters in 2015 to 195 firefighters in the current year's budget. But we are not done yet. There's more work to do. We have got to keep it going. Working with the Public Employee Committee, we have saved over $15 million in health insurance costs over the past 5 years. Fall River is leading the state in its health insurance innovation. But we've got more work to do. We're striving to do it even better. We've got to keep it going. Regarding that $3.4 million net school spending deficit, unfortunately, we had to drain our reserves to a mere $500,000 because our children needed those educational funds. But thanks to a lot of cost saving, zero-based budgeting, and long-term planning, we have been able to rebuild those reserves to over $9 million today. Now is not the time to change our financial team. We've got to keep it going. And that landfill problem, I worked with Browning Ferris Industries, BFI, and the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection, and we not only eliminated the $3 million cleanup cost, we also received to the city over $2 million from the BFI cleanup activities. We are starting to give residents and businesses the services that they have been requesting for a very long time. We are working very hard to address potholes and street cleaning and street repairs. We are making improvements to our business parks. We've created over 600 jobs in the past 3 years. We're making more park improvements, repairing more municipal buildings and school buildings, and that is thanks in part and in parcel to the strong partnership with the Fall River City Council. And I am so proud to say that I served as your city administrator, providing the leadership and stability to get those things done. So what's the plan moving forward? We need a safe community, and that requires bringing our police department to full complement. Our people deserve quality streets and sidewalks, and that will require additional investment through local bonding. Our children deserve quality education and educational success, and this will require a major private sector investment to achieve reading proficiency for all third graders. We want a vibrant business district, and that means shopping and dining and arts and entertainment in our downtown, our east end, our south end, and throughout. And we need a strong local economy, which means good paying jobs and workforce training that will pave the way for a bright future. My opponent has no plan. He simply dwells on the unfortunate event of the past. This message does us no good. True, it has been very demoralizing for us, but we can't let it define us. It's not who we are. I want us to look to the future, believing in the promise that it holds. If you agree with me that we are on the right track, let's keep it going. On November 5th, write in Cathy and Viveiros, Mayor for Fall River. And finally, message to my opponents. I challenge you to debate me anytime, anywhere. Let's give the voters of Fall River a choice in the upcoming election for mayor. Thank you. I'm afraid that all of the gains that we have made in the past will be totally lost. We're hearing about changes that are coming, and I do not believe they would be in the best interest of the city. I need to believe that our current team is going to be given the opportunity to continue to do the great work that they have done, and as their leader, I can provide that stability and enable them to move forward.
With that in mind, do you have a job tomorrow?
Yes, I do.
There seems to be a thought that there's some coordination with Mayor Correa with the write-in campaign, and this could somehow benefit him in the end. Is there any coordination with him on this?
No, the mayor was very clear yesterday that he was stepping aside, that he was ending his campaign in order to not only address his personal challenges, but also he felt it was in the best interest of the city.
There was discussion in that closed-door meeting that was reported in the paper with the transcript of the discussion in there that he would draw in a third candidate, a write-in candidate, to act, in fact, as a stalking horse for him. Do you deny that you're a stalking horse for Correa?
Absolutely. I am an independent individual. I have the experience, I've provided the leadership and the stability, and the mayor has made it very clear that he is no longer a candidate on that ballot in the upcoming election.
Why is the sixth time a charm?
That's a good question. That's a very good question. I think that now people have had opportunity to see Cathy and Viveiros serve as city administrator. As I've outlined, I think I've provided the leadership and stability necessary to achieve some tremendous progress for our community. So while they have elected me 5 times to serve as a city councilor, I think that my proven experience will now warrant their consideration to allow me to serve as their mayor.
And having served for years, during the time of Mayor Correa's tenure, how do you differentiate yourself from him, or do you embrace all that he enacted?
Well, it's very clear that the mayor makes the policy, and the administrative and the department heads execute that policy. I would say to you that I think that a lot of the accomplishments that we've made over the last 6 years, 4 of those years was under the Mayor Correa, and he clearly provided the direction that I think was very helpful to us in making the gains that we've accomplished.
A good direction, you think?
Yes, and I think if you spoke to people, that they would agree that the fact that we're starting to repair our sidewalks and our potholes and cleaning our streets, and also moving into a new era of economic development that's tapping into emerging technologies, that was all under his service as mayor, and he was supportive of those initiatives.
It represents stability.
Yes. Believe the fact that I've served for 6 years under 3 mayors, 3 very different mayors, I would add, but yet we've continued to make strong progress during that time frame. I'm the consistency, I'm the stability, and I'd like to continue to provide that because we are on the cutting edge of that economic transformation that Fall River's been seeking for decades. And we're almost there, but we've got to keep it going. We cannot change course now. And from everything I'm hearing, that's likely to happen with my opponent and his administration.
What's your relationship with Cliff Ponte right now?
Cliff is serving as acting mayor. We've had a good exchange, and I respect him as council president. We've done some good initiatives together, so I believe he is going to be a steadying influence for us moving forward in these next couple of months. And he clearly wants to do what's best for the community, but also for our department heads. We did have a meeting earlier today, and he wanted to reassure them that he's there for them, that he supports them and understands the important work that they do. And I know they all appreciated hearing that.
Are you going to step aside as city administrator during the course of this campaign?
I believe that I can continue to provide those services. Again, we have a number of projects that we're in the midst of that need to move forward. I do have time that I can take of a personal nature, but the plan is to enable city government to keep functioning in those areas where I'm integral.
You're not going to take a leave,
I am not, sir, but I will just take individual time off as
Is
I
that
need
proper?
to.
Do you feel? Is that proper?
Yes, sir.
If you knew you wanted to be mayor, why wait until today to tell us?
That's actually a good question. So as many of you know, it's no secret I've run for mayor a number of times, but I have been very happy serving as city administrator. And I would have been very contented to continue to serve in that role. However, I did not expect that I would be allowed to continue in that role under a new administration. And again, fearful that all of the work and accomplishments that we've created would be lost. When I spoke earlier about the problems that I confronted just 6 years ago, it doesn't take long for some bad decisions to be made that can have severe consequences on a city. And so I'm very concerned that if we made some of those significant changes that I'm hearing about, that we would very quickly see all of that progress eroded. And I'm vested in that, as are all of the department heads that work within our city.
As mayor, what would you change?
What we need to do is simply to continue moving forward, and we've been systematically starting. First of all, the priority was always fiscal stability. We needed to rebuild the reserves. We needed to make structural changes, and we've accomplished that. I've started over the last 18 months or so, been very actively involved in economic development. And we clearly have some tremendous opportunities for, again, that economic transformation that I've talked about. So moving forward is the vision. More public safety, more quality streets and sidewalks, vibrant business districts, the strong local economy, and of course, continued fiscal stability.
We have 2 weeks.
3 weeks.
3 weeks. Excuse me. How much do you have to raise and spend to wage a credible campaign? And what are you going to do in 3 weeks?
Well, fortunately, I don't think anyone would deny that I have name recognition. And over the last 6 years, I've proven myself as an experienced manager and someone who's capable of leading the city and providing good guidance. And I think the residents of Fall River already know that. So we look at the next 3 weeks. The challenge is going to be to just inform people that I am a write-in candidate. We are going to be providing a great deal of materials and individual instruction to help folks understand how that write-in process works. I'm very pleased to see that in Massachusetts, the write-in candidate decisions are really a function of voter intent. And they're very clear about the fact that if the voter's intent is obvious on the ballot, then the vote counts.
And if they misspell your name?
That would not be a problem.
You said
If they forgot my address, that would not be a problem. If they didn't fill in their little circles, that would not be a problem. It is all about voter intent.
You said you support Mayor Correa's policies. Do you support him and what he was doing? Do you think he should have stepped aside after his second arrest? Or do you support him staying in office as long as he did and the situation that it then led to in the city? What do you think about that whole situation?
I was supportive of his decision to step aside, and he's aware that I supported that decision. Again, it was becoming a significant distraction, and the mayor recognized that, and I commend him for making what clearly had to have been an extremely difficult decision for him.
Do you think he should have stepped aside back in September after he was arrested?
Again, that's his decision. I could only tell you what I was seeing day to day, and it was important that he make the decision when he did. But it had to feel right for him, and he's made that decision, and
Was there an impact that it was having, a tangible impact you think it was having on the city?
there's no question that we were being distracted, that there were certain things that we were not able to accomplish, and he recognized that, and I think that factored into his decision to step aside and formally end his campaign.
On a personal note, when you took out all the list of all your old workers and friends, how did you feel?
History's been kind of good to me. I will say that all of my campaigns have been very rewarding, and it's probably a good opportunity for me to actually thank the residents of Fall River who have supported me many times in my prior elections. I have had great success as a candidate for city council, and I'm hoping this time they're ready to allow me to serve them as their mayor. Everybody else, good? All right, thank you. Thank you all very much for coming, and to my supporters who were able, thank you.